Beatrice? What the hell was that stunt you pulled at the funeral? How could you act like that when your husband just died? I get that you're probably not in a good place emotionally right now, but there is no justification for shouting out, "His inheritance is finally mine," in the middle of the ceremony. And what the hell was that maniacal laugh you did afterwards? There are some things you just don't do. Well, would you look at who's preaching at me? You've got some nerve, Yasmin. If I'm not mistaken, the only reason you married my son Denzel was for his money. You're no better than me. We're practically in the same boat here, so how about you get off your high horse and drop that disgusting self-righteous attitude of yours? I promise you that is not why I married Denzel. Now I've heard it all. Playing the innocent good girl is easy, but it's obvious what you were after when you look at how much you've gained by marrying him. Not only are you now the wife of a company president, but he also gave you an executive position. Convincing my son to marry you not only landed you a high-status husband, but also a high-status job. And you've got the nerve to preach at me. I'm just a plain old stay-at-home housewife. You make me look like an amateur. I should be asking you for tips. Ugh, will you just listen to me? I'm telling you, it wasn't like that at all. You literally couldn't be more wrong. I got promoted to managing director of the company before we got married, and it had nothing to do with my relationship with Denzel. I was already a manager when we met, for crying out loud. Quit making hurtful accusations based on nothing but speculation. Anyway, quit trying to change the subject. Fine, point taken. Okay, dear, I admit it. Boldly proclaiming my right to my husband's inheritance in front of everyone at the funeral like that was tactless and immature. But when I think about how before long I'll be the proud owner of $2 million, I just can't contain my glee. Huh? Wait a second. $2 million. As in $2 million. We'll be discussing the inheritance with the lawyer soon, right? You have no right to lecture me on this when you're not in line to inherit a single cent. Sure, I wasn't Frank's legal heir, so I get it's not really my place to get involved, but with the way you behaved at the funeral, I just had to say something. How about you get a grip and show some respect? That was Frank's, your husband's funeral. Would it really have hurt you to have shown some respect for the deceased? How do you think he'd feel if he knew you were after his money all along? Do you have any idea how disgusted everyone was with you? I don't know how else to tell you this, so I'm just gonna say it. The entire family despises you now, so I think you should proceed very carefully from here on out. Who cares? They're just jealous that I'm about to inherit a cool $2 million, and they're gonna be left broke and penniless by the wayside. Getting upset over everyone's petty complaints wouldn't get me anywhere now, would it? Beatrice, won't you please just listen to me? Won't you just try to understand what I'm saying here as your daughter-in-law? Frank was loved by a lot of people. Surely you can understand why they might be shocked at you bragging about your inheritance at his funeral. Surely you can see why it might not be wise to go around making enemies like this. You need to be careful. I'm serious. I don't know what might happen if you make any more careless, insensitive remarks like that. This could have serious knock-on effects down the line for you. Fine. Point taken. Is the sermon over now, Vicar? Can I go home? Jeez, I'm so bored of your whining, I think I might actually keep my mouth shut in the future if it means being spared the self-righteous preaching. Wow. You have no intention of self-reflecting, do you? Fine, whatever. If the threat of my preaching is what it takes for you not to say outrageously hurtful things, then so be it. Please be more careful in the future. You really are the most insolent little witch I've ever met.
Hey, Yasmin. I decided to come home. I left things at my dad's house to my aunt and uncle.
Oh, good evening, Denzel.
I'm so sorry about today.
Why would you apologize?
I'm sorry for what Beatrice did at the funeral. I know she might only have been my dad's second wife and isn't my real mum, but in a sense, she was still there in the capacity of my mum. What with being my dad's wife and all. Well, there's no excusing what she did. Even though you cut her off mid-cackle and remonstrated her for her despicable behaviour, even though you're forced to go around apologising to all of the guests at the funeral, she clearly had no intention of apologising and didn't feel bad about what she did in the slightest.
Right. I just feel completely stupefied every time I think about it. You'd think the wife of a wealthy business owner would understand the importance of presenting herself well to the world and knowing how to conduct herself in public. I messaged her about it after, but she carried on being as arrogant and insensitive as she was at the funeral.
Her behavior at the funeral made it pretty obvious she only ever married my dad for his money. I mean, I guess I'd be lying if I said I didn't already know what kind of person she was before all this. But that little stunt she just pulled took my disdain to her to a whole new level. We're gonna have to keep our eyes on her for a little while.
You're right. Hello, Yasmin. I'm going on vacation. Excuse me? Apparently there were a couple of guests who couldn't make it to the funeral due to a family emergency, so they'll be stopping by at the house to make their apologies and give their condolences shortly. Make sure you're home to receive them. Vacation? What the hell are you playing at? Your husband's barely been dead a week. It's only been 3 days since the funeral. How insensitive can you be? Do you have no idea how inappropriately you're behaving, or do you just not care? What do you suggest I do with all this free time I have on my hands? Huh? Thinking about my $2 million is a nice, happy distraction, and it puts a big smile on my face, but I'm not actually going to have it until the inheritance procedures are finalized with the lawyer. None of my friends, mostly the wives of CEOs and celebrities, are inviting me to social events because they think I'm grieving. To make matters worse, I can't even stay at the house because of all the gloomy, miserable people showing up to give their condolences. If I don't get a change of scenery soon, I might get depressed and kill myself. Oh my God! Well, your friends are obviously mistaken because you're clearly not grieving at all. I can't even believe what I'm reading. Is there nothing but a big black hole where your heart should be? Quit lecturing me and come to the house immediately. I've already left. I can't risk missing my flight. Your flight? What the hell? All right, toodles, honey pumpkin. Gah! When are you going to stop acting like this?
Yasmin, is it true she went on vacation?
Yes. I have no idea where she's going or when she'll be back. She left without giving me any details. I've been blowing up her phone with calls and messages, but she's completely ignoring me.
God damn it. I really am sorry.
Why would you apologize to me, Denzel?
Because in the eye of the world, she is kinda seen as my mum.
Who cares about the eyes of the world? You're my husband. You don't have to worry about things like that with me. Don't sweat it. I'm unfazed.
Thanks, babe.
There is something I need to ask you, though.
What is it?
It's about the inheritance. Beatrice seems to think she's in line to receive $2 million. Is that true?
Excuse me? $2 million?
Right? I wonder where the hell she got that idea from.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
What in the Lord's almighty name is going on here? What the hell was that crap written on that will? It said all of my husband's properties and assets went to Denzel while he was still alive? And I, his wife, am left with nothing but a measly $50,000? The rest of his money was donated to a cancer charity. Oh, I can't believe it. This is the ultimate betrayal. Yep, there you have it. You kind of just answered your own question, so I'm not really sure what to say. Seems like you understand the will perfectly. What did you do? This is all the result of one of your cunning little schemes, isn't it, woman? I bet you've been planning this scenario ever since my husband was still alive, haven't you? No, the will has nothing to do with me. What happened to the $2 million I was supposed to inherit? Yeah, about that. I never really understood how you managed to convince yourself you were in line to inherit $2 million. Would you mind explaining? What is there to explain? Isn't it obvious? I heard his first wife got $2 million, so I thought I'd get the same. Why would he pay his current wife less than his ex? Huh? By his ex-wife, do you mean Denzel's mother? Who else would I be talking about, bird brain? Ah, I think I understand now. Where the hell did my $2 million disappear to? Your $2 million is already gone. Huh? What did you just say? How could my $2 million be gone? What does that even mean? Denzel's mom manages a high-end burger joint in New York. Frank owned it, but she runs it. Apparently the yearly revenue hit the 2 million mark just before Frank passed away. Huh? A yearly revenue? I'm guessing that's where you got the 2 million figure from. Oh, and before you get excited, the restaurant was left to Denzel's little brother and his wife, so you won't be getting that either. Basically, that $2 million you convinced yourself you were set to inherit didn't actually have anything to do with the inheritance at all. Oh my god, oh, this can't be happening. You mean my $2 million never even existed? Yes, exactly. Still, you did get $50,000. That's hardly a small sum of money, Beatrice. Surely that should be enough for you. $50,000 is nothing, you imbecile! It'll be gone before I even manage to pay off all my debts! Huh? Your debts? Since when were you in debt? I thought I was in line to receive a fat $2 million, so I started being a little liberal with my spending. I ate at luxury restaurants, replaced my entire wardrobe with branded clothing, and even started visiting a male strip club. And that's not to even mention my vacation to Hawaii and my stay at their best luxury 5-star hotel. How do you think I paid for all of that stuff? I went into debt, you idiot! Wow. So are you telling me the total of all that stuff came to more than $50,000? I'll be completely broke when I pay everything off. What are you going to do to fix this, young lady? And why exactly would I do that? Aha, of course! You're to relinquish your position as managing director at my son's company to me at once. Excuse me? Everyone knows corporate bigwigs get paid absurd sums of money to do nothing but laze around in their offices while barking orders at people all day. Even I, a stay-at-home housewife, could do that. Yes, that's it. The solution to my problems. With your salary, I'll have my debt paid off in no time, and before long, I'll be able to start spending money and enjoying my life again. I can assure you, managing a company definitely isn't as much of a cakewalk as you seem to think it is. Huh? Sure, me being chosen for this job is unprecedented at the company with how young I am, so I guess an outsider could be forgiven for thinking it's not that difficult if someone my age can do it. But the only reason I made it this far is because I worked hard ever since day one. I made my way up through the ranks and did everything by the book. I certainly didn't make it to where I am through special treatment, and it didn't have anything to do with me being Denzel, the company president's wife. I earned my position through nothing but grit, determination, and hard work, and that's a fact. Oh, wow, Yasmin, there's no need to get upset. How the heck did you think I was going to respond to hearing my job being described as lazing around in my office while barking orders at people all day, after slowly clawing my way through the ranks by sacrificing my personal life due to constant overtime and overnight stays at the office for years to get it? It'd be weirder if having to deal with a crazy bitch like you didn't make me angry. Fine, a point taken. You can keep your job. But you are going to have to provide me with some form of recompense for the unfortunate situation you've put me in. You'll spare some money for your mother-in-law, won't you, dear? I'm in a rather awkward position here. For the situation I put you in? What the hell are you talking about? Anyway, don't you have your pension? Why can't you live on that? Sure I do, but it's hardly much. I sure as heck won't be able to rely on it for the rest of my life. I need security, dear. And why is that my problem? You can play the sympathy card till you're blue in the face for all I care. I'm not giving you a single cent. Denzel is the CEO now after inheriting the company from his dad. You are not, nor have you ever, been in any position to interfere with anything related to the company. Surely if you put in a good word for me with Denzel, he'll be able to arrange some monthly payments for me to live on. It's not like I'm asking for much, just $10K a month will do. Are you seriously asking for $10,000 a month from a company you have nothing to do with? Your arrogance truly knows no bounds. Then what do you suggest I do? Would you see me out on the streets begging for handouts? Would it really kill you to get a job? Huh? A job? You're still in your 40s. There's literally no reason you can't get a job and work like the rest of us. If you want to work at our company, then you'll just have to apply when we start recruiting again, just like anyone else would. You're not entitled to handouts or easy access just because of me and Denzel. On the other hand, there's also no reason you can't get a job there if you meet the conditions and make a good impression during the interview. So why not go for it? Who the hell do you think you are, young lady? This is no way to speak to your mother-in-law, you condescending little brat. You should think more carefully before you speak. You're my daughter-in-law, and you and my son have a sacred duty to provide for me. Actually, you're technically not related to either of us anymore. Huh? You were Denzel's mother-in-law, which I guess kinda made you my mom-in-law too. But what with his dad passing, you're nothing but strangers to us both now. Well, I... Also, the house you're currently living in belongs to Denzel now. If you want to carry on living there, you're gonna have to start paying rent. Rent? Based on the size of the place and the way the rental market's going lately, you're probably gonna be looking at least $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month? Have you lost your goddamn mind? If it's too much for you, I suggest you find somewhere else to live. But I don't have any money. It's been 10 years since me and Denzel met Beatrice. Ever since that time, she had the privilege of living a life of leisure and carefree luxury as a stay-at-home housewife on Denzel's dad's dime, without ever having to work once. However, her life of luxury and relaxation fell apart in an instant with the shocking and sudden passing of her husband. As expected, the $50,000 she did inherit immediately disappeared when she used it to pay off the debt she'd accrued after spectacularly convincing herself she was set to receive a tidy $2 million. In a desperate attempt to avoid working, she begged her relatives for money. But unfortunately for her, the whole family disowned her after witnessing her reprehensible antics at the funeral, and she didn't have a soul left in the world to rely on. When they suggested she go to the job center to try and find work, to everyone's surprise, she actually listened and miraculously actually found a job. She finally moved out of Denzel's house 2 weeks ago. Maybe you won't be surprised to hear she got into a fight with one of her coworkers on her first day at her new job. And with that, her prospects of carrying on there disintegrated. With that, Beatrice's attempt at reintegrating into society after 10 years flopped in an epic fashion, and she found herself once again lost, desperate, broke, and alone.